Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov this morning, who said Russia had no role in this, and then in fact he turned the tables and said it's Britain's fault because Britain's not sharing any of the nerve agents so that we can help with this investigation and clear our name.
Royal Navy warships are taking part in major war drills aimed at facing down aggressive military activity by Russia as the spy poisoning scandal reaches fever pitch. A large-scale anti-submarine warfare exercise led by NATO alliance forces is being carried out in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Sicily, Italy. The drill, codenamed Dynamic Manta 2018, involves naval forces from 10 NATO members, including United Kingdom and United States, whose warships and submarines have been deployed. Admiral Fago, commander of U.S. Naval Forces Europe, has accused Russia of conducting increasingly aggressive military activity near NATO forces in the Mediterranean Sea and elsewhere. 6 submarines, 9 surface ships, 10 maritime patrol aircraft and more than 5,000 military personnel will take part in Dynamic Manta, which finishes on March 16. Royal Navy warships, including Type 45 destroyer HMS Duncan, have been dispatched for the exercises as tensions between Russia and the United Kingdom reach fever pitch. NATO today offered to support the United Kingdom in the wake of the indiscriminate and reckless attack that left ex-Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter in a critical condition. Addressing MPs today, Theresa May slapped Russia with a series of tough sanctions, describing the attack as an unlawful use of force. The PM expelled 23 Russian diplomats, described as undeclared intelligence officers, telling them they have a week to leave the United Kingdom. The extraordinary move came after Mrs. May gave the Russian President Vladimir Putin a 24-hour deadline to explain why a deadly Soviet-era nerve agent had been used in the attack. Having provided no explanation, Mrs. May imposed sanctions on Russia to send a clear message. Their response has demonstrated complete disdain for the gravity of these events, Mrs. May told the House of Commons. There is no alternative conclusion other than the Russian state was responsible for the attempted murder of Mr. Skripal and his daughter. Mrs. May confirmed she had sought the backing of allies including the EU, NATO, and the United States, whose president said he was behind Britain all the way. Meanwhile, NATO accepted that the nerve agent attack was an indiscriminate and reckless attack against the United Kingdom and vowed to support Mrs. May. In a statement, NATO said, "Allies expressed deep concern at the first offensive use of a nerve agent on alliance territory since NATO's foundation. Allies expressed solidarity with the United Kingdom, offered their support in the conduct of the ongoing investigation, and called on Russia to address the United Kingdom's questions including providing full and complete disclosure of the Novichok program to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons." Allies agreed that the attack was a clear breach of international norms and agreements. Under Article 5 of NATO's collective defense policy, an attack against one NATO member is deemed an attack on all. But NATO has stopped short of using Article 5 over the poisoning of the
from all of this we can conclude that Russia is in serious breach of the Chemical Weapons Convention through its failure to declare the Novichok program. This fact alone means you should discount any arguments you hear about the possibility of other countries having inherited this technology.
After we heard the words from the UK ambassador, who had called this emergency meeting of the 15-member body that leads the United Nations, we then heard from the US ambassador, Nikki Haley. Now, in her remarks, she emphasized this special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom, and from there, she went on to fit the allegations against Russia in with a broader narrative. She talked about Syria, she talked about North Korea, she talked about previous Security Council meetings, and it was rather heated words we heard not just from the UK ambassador, but then from Nikki Haley representing the United States.
A growing concern in all of this dangerous and destabilizing activity is Russia. Russia failed to ensure Syria destroyed its chemical weapons program. Russia killed the Joint Investigative Mechanism when it found Assad liable for chemical attacks. Russia used its veto to shield Assad 5 times last year. It has also provided cover for Syria in The Hague at the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons.
In response to the heated words from the United States and the United Kingdom, we heard from the Russian ambassador, and he responded on a number of levels. One of his points that he made was he pointed out that Russia has actually given up its chemical weapons and that the OPCW has confirmed that Russia no longer possesses chemical weapons. From there, he invoked the memory of when Colin Powell, representing the United States, addressed that very body, the UN Security Council, holding vials of powder that he said were chemical weapons from Iraq. He reminded the Council and pointed out that at this point, now we have the United Kingdom coming with simply a letter, and that there seems to be a history of rather unsubstantiated allegations against different countries regarding chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction from the United States and the UK. This is the Russian representative responding to the words from the US and the UK.
We're living in a very special time. In front of our eyes, incredible things are happening. The process of replacing the presumption of innocence with the presumption of guilt is taking place. This criminal law principle is being transferred into international relations. Envoy Haley, as an experienced chemist, has talked about crimes committed by Russia. We've known for years that for you, in order to determine the guilty party, no investigation is needed. Today, the best kind of proof is suspicion. It is no longer necessary to show to the Council white tubes with an unknown white substance in it. It's enough to send a letter displaying an egregious attitude towards a sovereign state.
From there, the Russian ambassador went on to call for a thorough investigation of the incident and determine exactly who is to blame and what happened, and he called for this to be done through the existing international mechanisms to find out who is absolutely responsible. And he reassured the Security Council that Russia was more than happy to cooperate with this proper investigation to determine who is responsible for the attack. However, he was very clear that he did not approve of the heated words and allegations from the UK and the United States before the Council, and that Russia, just like other countries, wants to get to the bottom of what exactly happened in Salisbury.
They are suspending high-level contacts between the two countries. The Russian foreign minister's visit to the UK has been cancelled, and no British officials, including members of the royal family, will be present at the World Cup in Russia taking place this summer. Theresa May has said that Russia's response to the deadline that was given by midnight last night was a disdain given the gravity of events that unraveled.
Mr. Speaker, it was right to offer Russia the opportunity to provide an explanation. But their response has demonstrated complete disdain for the gravity of these events. They have provided no credible explanation that could suggest they lost control of their nerve agent. No explanation as to how this agent came to be used in the United Kingdom. No explanation as to why Russia has an undeclared chemical weapons program in contravention of international law.
The leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, had asked the British Prime Minister whether or not any official requests were sent to Russia, whether any evidence was provided to Russia or any facts, and to that the response was a bit unsubstantial.
Has the Prime Minister taken the necessary steps under the Chemical Weapons Convention to make a formal request for evidence from the Russian government? How has she responded to the Russian government's request for a sample of the agent used in the Salisbury attack to run its own tests? Has high-resolution trace analysis been run on a sample of the nerve agent? And has that revealed any evidence as to the location of its production or the identity of its perpetrators?
We gave the Russian government the opportunity, through the démarche that my right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, delivered to the Russian ambassador here in London earlier this week, to do just that. They have not done so. There is a consensus across the backbenches of this House. I am only sorry that the consensus does not go as far as the right honourable gentleman who could have taken the opportunity, as the UK government has done, to condemn the culpability of the Russian state.
The Russian embassy here in London has said that the steps taken by the British government are unjustified, unacceptable and short-sighted, also saying that the deterioration of ties between Russia and the UK lies on the British government and that ultimatums don't work with Russia.
Everything what is done today by the British government is absolutely unacceptable, and we consider this a provocation. We believe that the United Kingdom should follow the international law, and under these obligations they have on the organization of the prohibition of chemical weapons, they have to present the request to the organization, and then we're happy to consider this within the 10 days. This is the international law, and of course we are not ready to talk in the way of the ultimatums.
The actions taken by the British government became really a crescendo of over a week of this spy saga unraveling, where we saw what could have been a potential local incident unravel into a huge international diplomatic standoff.